In today's video, we're maxing out the new stick host equipment for the Barbarian King, so you don't have to. We're going to break down the full max level stats, every pro and con, whether it's worth upgrading, and finally, the best army to use with it with 3 real attack examples. Let's get straight into it. The stick host comes with 3 extremely strong passive abilities, and at max level it becomes one of the most aggressive mobility tools in the entire game. Here's what it gives your Barbarian King. The main ability allows the king to hop over walls. The ability duration is 30 seconds, which is huge. It lets your king reach deep compartments instantly and ignore base designs entirely. The passive buffs are also amazing, as it has a plus 24 movement speed, a plus 33 attack speed. This turns the king into a fast high DPS bruiser that melts buildings. For the hero boost, it gets plus 222 DPS and 1606 HP, a massive stat increase that makes the king tankier and deadlier. This is one of the best raw stat boosts of any BK equipment. Now before we showcase the best army, let's break down the strengths and weaknesses of this equipment with the pros and cons list. Let's start off with the pros. The first pro is the wall hopping mobility. The king can jump over walls for 30 full seconds, giving unmatched access to high value compartments. The second pro is that it has huge speed and DPS boosts. The movement and attack speed buffs make the king feel like a completely different hero. Fast, aggressive, and extremely threatening. Number 3, it has insane synergy with the Angry Jelly and Giant Gauntlet. This combo turns the king into a compartment destroying machine, especially in high DPS zones. Number 4 is extremely versatile. You can use the stick horse as an opening funnel, as a hero dive tool, as a back end cleanup hero, and as a support hero for smash attacks. It fits into almost every army. For the cons of the stick horse, the open compartments can confuse the AI if the base has open walls. The stick horse pathing can get a little bit weird. The king may take unexpected routes or hop into the wrong compartment entirely. This is the only real downside, and it's minor compared to the value it brings. Now let's get into why you should upgrade the stick horse. This equipment has far more pros than cons. In our testing across multiple armies, one army stood out the best for you to use the stick horse, and honestly it made the king feel like a completely new hero. The only equipment stronger than the stick horse is the spiky ball, simply because the spiky ball has more versatility and synergy across all attack styles. But the stick horse is easily a top tier must upgrade for a Barbarian King. We did try the stick horse with multiple armies like Electro Dragons, Dragon Riders, Fireball Rocket Loons, Smash Attacks, and multiple different variety. But one attack stood out the most, and that was Zap Throwers, which was the clear winner. So let's jump into some attack replays and show you how exactly to use the stick horse with Zap Throwers. So this is going to be the first attack replay of the video, and basically it's Zap Throwers. So essentially what you want to do is you want to start off with a Warden Walk just to clear a couple of buildings out. Now the main reason I use the Warden over at the 6 o'clock side is because I wanted to clear out this Recoil Cannon and the multi-archer tower as well. So I deployed a Furnace over at the 9 o'clock side and as well one at the 6 o'clock section. And essentially this is going to help reinforce the Warden as well as make the funnel over there. Now in the middle I managed to zap out a Rage Tower and also the Revenge Tower with one Builder Hut. Now you always want to make sure that you're using your zaps and earthquake spells after you deploy your Warden so that you can save a bit of time. I deployed a Skelly over at the 6 o'clock side and also a Totem so I can tank for both the Archer Tower and the Recoil Cannon and help do a little bit of additional damage with the Rage Vial or the Rage Gem so that the Warden can take this down a little bit quicker, because once this Builder Hut does wear off or goes down by the Warden, I'm going to bring my throwers in towards this multi-gear tower. And the main reason is because I've cleared out the whole 6 o'clock side and I've also cleared out the core, it gives a nice pathing to the throwers to kind of wrap around into the multi-gear tower, the Expo, the Fire Spitter, and go towards the Town Hall area. And I am going to be using the Log Launcher alongside it just to open up in towards this multi-inferno. I do have 3 wall breakers as well, just in case something went a bit wrong, but it's not too bad or whatsoever. Now guys, we're going to do something a little bit different, and honestly it works super well. And this is one of the ways I really found that the stick horse can work with the throwers, right? So as the throwers are working over at this side over here and they're going to wrap around the base, I deployed my RC and my Barbarian King over at this 4 o'clock side of the base, and basically we're just going to focus on them a little bit. I use one Totem, I popped that King ability, I have got the Giant Gauntlet and the pony on him, as you can see right there. I also have on the Royal Champion the Electro Boots and Rocket Spear. Now, I do use a couple of totems right here, but look at the value that the Barbarian King and this Royal Champion managed to get. They basically solo clear off all of this right hand side, and then I can use a couple of cleanups to get that job done right there. But look at the value that the RC and the King were able to get, and look at the amount of throwers I still have alive, with the Warden barely untouched, the Queen ability that hasn't been used yet. Of course, the Royal Champion has the Phoenix on her, so she'll be able to clear up that Rico cannon. And honestly, this base was absolutely smashed. I had so many, I don't think I lost a single thrower. But as you can see, honestly, it's very, very strong. And it was very, very quick as well, considering that the hero ability, which was very, very strong, it allowed the King to hop off the walls. And of course, the Giant Gauntlet reduction. So those two combined, so the pony and the gauntlet combined are very, very strong together. Now let's get into this second base right here. I saw this and I was like, you know what, it's perfect, right? Because you can zap out this bomb hive and the 2 fire spears and you don't really need to worry about them. And then you can essentially take your throwers on one side, your King and RC on the other side, and in hindsight it should be absolutely smashed. So that's what I attempted, and it took around about 2 minutes and 15 seconds, but the zaps right there, absolutely perfect. The Warden did get a little bit of shots off against that bomb hive, which was a bit unfortunate because I wasn't quick enough with the zaps, but it's completely fine. I deployed the Queen so it can pull the Grand Warden. I used a log launcher instead of a siege barracks because I wanted to get a couple of damage off on these walls in case I needed to reach over for the monolith later on. But what I tried a little bit different was I didn't use the King to go into this compartment. So I sent the King over to fight the Archer Queen because I know it's got the gauntlet on it as well as the horse stick, so it attacks faster and it does a lot more tanking. So I use an earthquake spell. I could have used a couple of totems, but unfortunately I did not. But it managed to almost take down that Rico cannon, and it managed to get a good value taking down that Queen, so he did survive a lot longer. And then I just popped my RC over here. My throwers are still working in unison. I still have the Queen ability. I still got a bunch of loons. The Queen ability, which is the most clutch, I got a freeze and a skelly as well. But the RC picking off this monolith was absolutely insane. And the amount of throwers that I still have is absolutely crazy right here. So I'm just going to speed this one up just a little bit so you guys can see exactly how this attack ended up finishing off. I thought for a second that I was never going to get this multi-target Inferno, but thankfully one of the throwers did actually end up going onto the inside. So that actually picked it off relatively easily. I used a couple of loons to finish off that Rico cannon that the Barbarian King didn't take down. And then there you have it, man. This army is so strong. And with the King, new equipment, it can speed up a lot quicker. So now, before we had an issue with time failing with zap throwers, but now it's so fast and it's actually very, very OP. Now let's get into the final attack. Now right here, look, you can see this base is a symmetrical one. So I ended up deploying the Warden over at the 12 o'clock side, and I ended up zapping out right there the bomb hive and also the revenge tower because they're so annoying. Now I have these two expos shooting down at my Grand Warden, so I'm gonna have to use a totem eventually. I could have used the totem a little bit higher up just to tank a bit better so it didn't have to lock on by the Minion Prince and the King, but it was completely fine nonetheless. I mean, this was very, very quick as well. It was around about 2 minutes and 15-20 seconds again. So you just let your Warden clear up a little bit right there. So I made a little bit of a mistake right here. Because this air defense went down, I actually should have sent my throwers and my Queen over on this other air defense, right? Because you're going to see something happen in just a second. Now, as my throwers came in, I sent my King and RC over from the 3 o'clock side. So the main goal right here was to have the King clear all of this, like the Scatter, the Expo, the Recall, the AD, the Wizard Tower, the Multi-Inferno, and go further on down the base, right? Whilst the throwers go in towards this Fire Spitter and push their way in towards that multi-target Inferno Tower compartment. I let the King get a little bit lower, popped his ability right there, and this was where the problem happened. All of the healers went with the Queen over into this Super Wizard Tower compartment. So here I'm going to have to adjust just a little bit, but because of how strong the King and the RC are, even with mistakes like this, normally you'd think that the throwers are going to die instantly, but look at the value that the King and the Royal Champion are getting, which allows these throwers without the healers to manage to come inside and pick off this Town Hall compartment, deal with the long shot, whilst the Queen runs rampant on the top side with the giant giant as well, which is absolutely amazing. And now we just keep on going. Again, I had to totem, sorry, I had to freeze the long shot here because look at the throwers. They're all the way far behind and it was a little bit unfortunate. But again, look at this Royal Champion, man. With the Phoenix, she's going to be able to get that monolith down with the assistance of the King, who died over here. And I deployed him all the way over at the 3 o'clock side. And at this point, it's all down to time. And again, we had plenty of it purely because of the Queen splitting over on the top side, taking all the healers. Got a little bit scary right there, but it was completely fine. We had plenty of clean up troops. The Queen actually came in clutch, splitting away, which normally without the healers, the throwers die, but we've got still like 5 or 6 throwers still alive. Again, this army is very OP and very strong, and I 100% recommend that you use it with the new stick horse equipment. This is the best army we found when testing the stick horse. Zap throwers just pair perfectly with the King's mobility and speed. Other armies that work well but aren't quite as strong include Electro Dragons, Dragon Riders and Fireball Rocket Loons. Let us know in the comments if you plan to upgrade the stick horse and what army you'll be using it with. And of course, don't forget to use code BLUE to support the channel and help us make the best Clash content for you. We'll catch you in the next one.